Emily Ross and Daniel Harper were standing at the altar. Friends, family, a perfect wedding. Then, a woman no one recognized stepped forward. She wasn't there to celebrate, she was there to stop the marriage. And the reason why? This story will surprise you. Before I continue, tell me in the comments, are you subscribed to the channel yet? And let me know which city or country you're watching from, so I can personally thank you. Before you say I do, let me ask you something. How well do you really know the person you're about to marry? In 2016, in a quiet suburban town called Brookfield, everyone trusted Daniel Harper. He was polite, soft-spoken, always smiling, the kind of man neighbors described as safe. Daniel worked as a financial consultant. He volunteered at church. He never raised his voice. And most importantly, he was engaged to Emily Ross. Emily was 30 years old, intelligent, kind, and deeply in love. She told her friends Daniel was different from other men. She said he listened, he cared, he never argued. But here's the thing. People like Daniel don't argue. They don't explode. They don't show anger. They wait. Emily didn't know it yet, but the man she planned to marry had already destroyed 2 lives before meeting her. And the warning signs were there, quiet, subtle, almost invisible. This is a true crime story about control, manipulation, and what can happen when love blinds you to danger. And it starts long before the wedding. Emily met Daniel at a networking event. He was charming without trying too hard. He asked questions. He remembered details. Within weeks, he was texting her good morning and good night. By the 3rd month, Daniel suggested they move in together. He said things like, "I've never felt this connection before. I don't want to waste time. When you know, you know." Emily's friends were cautious. They said it felt rushed. Daniel smiled and said, "I just love deeply." But psychologists call this love bombing. Overwhelming affection early on to create emotional dependency. Emily didn't know that term. She just felt chosen. Soon, Daniel began giving advice about her finances, then her schedule, then her friends. Nothing aggressive, just suggestions. "Your coworker seems jealous. Your sister doesn't really support us. I just want to protect you." By the time Daniel proposed, Emily had slowly drifted away from the people who could have warned her. And that was exactly the plan. The first real warning came 6 months before the wedding. Emily noticed Daniel reading her phone while she showered. When she asked about it, he laughed. "I was just checking the weather," he said. Later, she discovered he had changed her email password by accident, then her bank login. Daniel explained calmly, "I work with security systems. I'm just keeping us safe." Emily wanted to believe him. She didn't want conflict. And that's another fact experts agree on. Abusers often choose partners who avoid confrontation. When Emily mentioned this to her mother, Daniel found out. That night, he didn't yell, he cried. He said he felt betrayed. He said trust was broken. And somehow, Emily ended up apologizing. That was the moment the balance shifted, from partnership to control. And once control is established, the danger quietly grows. What Emily didn't know was that Daniel had been married before. Very briefly. His first wife, Laura, died in what police ruled an accident, a fall down the stairs. Daniel rarely spoke about her. When he did, he said she was unstable and reckless.
What never came up was this. Laura had told friends she felt trapped. She had started secretly saving money. She planned to leave. 3 days before her death, she searched online for divorce lawyers. The case was closed quickly. No signs of struggle. Daniel was calm, cooperative, grieving. Years later, a detective would admit, "We didn't look hard enough because he didn't look dangerous." And that mistake would almost cost Emily her life.
On the morning of the wedding, Emily felt sick. She told herself it was nerves. Daniel noticed and smiled. "You're mine now," he whispered during the ceremony. No one else heard it. After marriage, the control intensified. Daniel monitored her spending, tracked her location, decided when she slept. If she resisted, he didn't hit her. He punished her with silence, coldness, withdrawal. Experts call this coercive control, a form of abuse more dangerous than physical violence. And it often ends one way. 2 years into the marriage, Daniel's business partner died. Another accident. Car crash. Single vehicle. No witnesses. Emily noticed something disturbing. Daniel benefited financially. Large life insurance payout. Transferred quietly. When Emily asked questions, Daniel stared at her, silently, for almost a minute. Then he said, "You wouldn't survive without me." That was the first time Emily felt real fear. Not panic. Fear. Emily began planning quietly. She hid cash, saved evidence, recorded conversations. She learned the truth about Laura. And then Daniel found out. He didn't confront her. He booked a weekend trip, a remote cabin, no cell service. That was when Emily understood. If she went, she wouldn't come back. The night before the trip, Emily called the police. She showed them everything. The recordings, the financial trails, the pattern. For the first time, someone listened. Daniel was arrested the next morning. He didn't resist. He smiled, because he thought he'd win. He was wrong. The trial reopened Laura's case. New forensic analysis showed her injuries were inconsistent with a fall. Daniel was charged with 2 murders. In court, he never looked at Emily, not once. Psychologists testified. They described him as a covert narcissistic psychopath, the most difficult type to detect. The jury took less than 4 hours. Guilty. Life without parole. Emily survived. But she says the scars are invisible. Today she tells her story for one reason. Love should never isolate you. Control is not protection. Silence is not peace. Before you say "I do," watch how they treat others. Watch how they handle anger. Watch how they respond to boundaries. Because monsters don't always look like monsters. Sometimes they look like the person standing at the altar.